Welcome to today's live learning. We're going to answer the question, will my life fall apart if I listen to my thoughts? I'm Peggy O'Neill. I'm the creator of Wisdomary Leading, which is an approach to leading our lives, our families, our organizations, our country, our communities, based on the current mind-blowing understanding of the nature of reality. And so it's a radical approach, but it's based on science and wisdom traditions that have been telling us for 2,000 years who we truly are and what's possible if we live as who we truly are, which is the one being, who the nature of which is peace, love, happiness, fulfillment, everything we all long for. So welcome to today's conversation. Again, will my life fall apart if I don't listen to my thoughts? If you're here live, please say hi. And I'm going to see now. Sue's here. Yay. Yeah, phew. I'm glad you're here, Sue. If anybody else is here live, please say hi as well. And if you're watching this on replay, please put in hashtag replay. If you have any questions, comments during this or after, please put them in the comments and I will get back to you. We'll answer them. So let's get started. So, will my life fall apart if I don't listen to my thoughts? Why this question? We're so used to paying attention to what our thoughts tell us to do, tell us about ourselves, tell us about other people, tell us about the world. We really don't even realize it, but we're letting our thoughts run our lives, not us, not our true nature, not who we truly are. So we worry, though, because we're so addicted to really listening to our thoughts. I mean, it's what we've done our whole lives. We hear things like, I saw this video, though. Oh, I meant to tell you. So notice I've got on my ho 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 t-shirt. It's December 21st, right before Christmas 2023. Anyway, I saw this, it's like an up or down thing on a talk show. Anyway, it was these two young boys watching a tree, looking at a tree in their next door neighbor's yard, and the next door neighbors turned on the lights, and the little boys were like, oh, wow, wow. And what did the parents ask? What do you think about this? So from very early, we're conditioned to think and to live life as if our thoughts about something are really irrelevant. Now, yes, they can be relevant if I'm trying to decide. Well, how I've got to make this accurate. Like if I'm thinking about what do I want to have for dinner and what I need from the grocery store to do that. Okay, our thoughts are relevant for that. If I want to get from here to New York City, then my thoughts are relevant for that. Where am I? How am I going to get there? But thoughts about who I am, how I'm being, who someone else is, what I think about the tree lights, all irrelevant. So we're so addicted to them that we do think when people first hear that, well, we don't need to listen to our thoughts. People are like, panicked, like, what do you mean not listen to my thoughts? We're afraid everything's going to fall apart because they've been driving our life. So what can you do? So as I mentioned in the notes about what this today was about, so how you can know that your life won't fall apart is just actually to try this for a day. And even people, clients, people that are in the praxis or other clients that are working with me with this, immediately it's like, what? Don't plan everything. Don't use my thoughts to plan my day. Don't use my thoughts to. I mean, sometimes that's useful, but to actually play for a day, to not pay attention to my thoughts, and people panic. What if I don't get stuff done? What if things fall apart? So, but we find, or what I've found, is that, and yes, the first day or two I did this, it was like, oh gosh, I wonder what's going to happen. Will everything get done? Will I drop the balls on anything? And of course, we could still look at our lists and so on. But what I found is by letting myself not listen to my thoughts, they'll be there. I just don't pay attention to them. I relax my attention from them. And then after a little bit, I notice I'm doing something. We can't sit still very long. It's very frightening at the very beginning, But anyway, so how can you know that your life won't fall apart? Is you just try it, try it, try it for half a day, try it for an hour, try it for 30 minutes, or try it for a day, and then you'll start noticing. Oh yeah, I do get things done, and then what I notice specifically is that I get more done. It's more enjoyable. It's freeing. It's very freeing, and and it's like I feel more in the flow of life because I am, and so that would be what I would say is how you can know your life won't fall apart. You just give it a try, give it a try, and then remember, if all of a sudden it feels like your life's falling apart, then just do what you normally do. Okay, so are there any thoughts or comments about that? Let's see. Oh, you're welcome. No, that's what you said, right? Gracias. No, you said thank you. Okay, you're welcome, Sue. That was from a few minutes ago. All right, so I'll come back now to so join us to discover what your thoughts are. So most of us have never considered this. What are my thoughts really? We've just been automatically trained, conditioned, just taken on to pay attention to them without ever asking ourselves, what are these thoughts anyway? And when we examine thoughts, we realize, and you can do this after this call, we'll take a second, a few seconds really right now to notice a thought that you have, and now ask yourself, where did that thought come from? And don't say my brain. We've been conditioned to think that. Where in your experience did that thought come from? And I'm going to move on, but I'm going to encourage you to do this over and over again until it really sinks in that we can't find where the thought comes from. In our experience, all of a sudden there's a thought there. We cannot find the source of that thought without using concepts. So the more we realize our thoughts are coming out of nowhere, that helps to validate that we don't need to pay attention to. We don't need to be addicted to paying attention to them. And we can start discerning which thoughts to pay attention to and which thoughts not to pay attention to. But anyway, so what are our thoughts made of? They're made of consciousness. They're made of the same stuff that you and I are made of, the same stuff that this computer is made of. Everything is made of consciousness. Our thoughts are made of consciousness. We aren't our thoughts. We identify with them as if that's who they are, and yet the thoughts are the same as us. But they're not our thoughts. They're not who we are. They're made of the same stuff as us. And they're like clouds. So we don't let clouds dictate our lives, do we? Yeah, if it's real rainy and all that, we might go get a coat and an umbrella. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, you see clouds in the sky, they're not running our lives. It's the same thing with thoughts. Thoughts are the same as clouds. They're just appearances in consciousness. Appearances of consciousness. And then we're going to discover how can they change thoughts over time on their own. So, because we do notice thoughts, right? Judgments about ourselves, judgments about other people. When we pay attention to them, we can feel bad, we can feel good. Neither of those are feelings, though. Good and bad aren't feelings. So we can feel anxious if we're listening to thoughts, or we can feel, oh, I'm better than they are, if it's a good thought. So how they wind up changing over time, we don't have to change them or try to change them. We can't. If you put together what I just suggested is you try to find the source of thoughts, well, then that tells you we can't control them. So we can't control them. But what we can do is we'll notice a thought. And when we remember, we can relax our attention from that thought. And the more we do that, especially with the thoughts that by paying attention to them we feel uncomfortable, or it creates anxiety with another person, for example, or something we're doing, then the more we relax our attention from them, then it's like we're taking the energy out of them, or the air out of a balloon, if you will. Also, when we watch videos like this or read other things about non-duality and who we truly are, and continue to do self-inquiry, who am I, and look for the I that I am, and so continue to do those sorts of things, then over time our thoughts start shifting, because those that when we pay attention to them would, so to speak, wreak havoc on our lives, they fade into the background. We don't notice them so much. So in a way, it seems like we're changing our thoughts, but we're not really. They just recede into the background. And then we're more available for the thoughts that most of us would really like to have, creative thoughts, our imagination sort of thoughts, how to be with another person when we're really present with them and not listening to all of our assessments about ourselves and them and our relationship and how am I doing. Then we're there to be really present and really able to have a deep communication, a deep and rich communication, conversation, connection. So that's just what happens over time when we do what I'm suggesting here today, where we don't identify with our thoughts, we relax the attention from our thoughts, we recognize and let it really sink in that we can't find the source, that they just appear, and then we pay more attention to things that are nurturing for us and read more about who we truly are, then our thoughts naturally change. Why? Because we're being influenced by those things. We're being influenced by the natural change in behavior that occurs when we take on what we're talking about here. And because everything in the universe is always influencing everything else. So as we pay attention to different things, then we're influenced in different ways. So I'll see if there are any questions or comments about any of this. Let's see. Sue says, I think my rampant thoughts slow down my forward movement. Oh, that's very powerful, Sue. Do you want to say more about that? I can make something up about it. Is it that you pay attention to your thoughts, and of course that slows us down, because now I've got to pay attention, think about, now we're going to think about what we're thinking about, and then then you have to pause to consider all of that, and I guess that's what you're saying. Anything you want to add about that? Okay, I'll come back to that. You might be typing something as I review what we talked about today. So, will my life fall apart if I don't listen to my thoughts? So, how can you know your life won't fall apart? Give it a try. 30 minutes, an hour a day. Just say, you know what, I'm not going to pay attention to my thoughts. And then observe what happens. Observe what you get done, how you feel throughout the day, what you feel throughout the day, how conversations go, how interactions go. Just notice that. And again, remember, if you feel like it's starting to fall apart, then go back to what you're used to. And then come back and try this again. And then what are your thoughts? Your thoughts are made of consciousness. They're made of the same thing that you are. They're like clouds in the sky. They're appearances of consciousness in consciousness. That's what they are. They're consciousness. And how they change maybe over time, so we don't try to change them. We don't have an agenda about them, but they do naturally seem to change, because when we relax the attention from the ones we normally pay attention to, then over time they start fading in the background. We don't notice them, and then that gives space for new thoughts, new ideas, new creativity, new ways of being, new possibility, imagination, creativity. I already said that, but I'm emphasizing it because it's just what so many of us want. We want to be more creative, more alive, and that's where it is. Okay, so I'll look one more time, see if they're all right. So I get tangled up on the negative. Okay, great. Thanks for adding that, making that distinction. Yeah, so our emotions shift, and maybe and so that if the emotions are more aligned with stagnation or anxiety, then that just naturally slows us down. So very powerful, Sue. Thank you for adding that. And it keeps me waiting. It's a strange thing. Yeah, I appreciate this observation and sharing it because it is strange, isn't it? I hadn't really thought about it that way, but yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just waiting, waiting. Our thoughts keep you waiting. So great. I'm not going to try to edit it at all. I mean, add to it because it's so powerful in itself. So thank you, Sue, for adding these insights into our conversation today. All right. So thank you for being here and for sharing this time as we've explored will my life fall apart if I don't listen to my thoughts? And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Happy holidays if you're watching this around the holidays, and Happy New Year if you're watching it again around the holidays. All right. Bye.